Let's get into our free agency awards that we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about best signing, worst signing, and we're also going to mention each pick a team that we're going to call the "What the hell are they doing" team. So that's coming up. I'm going to let you go first here. Best signing. These are for the whole NFL, by the way. These are not just Bears moves. They could be Bears moves, but best signing out there. Carm, go ahead.
Yeah, so, you look at the money that Milton Williams got, and you look at what people thought that they were going to get. The Cardinals getting Josh Sweat for $41 million guaranteed to reunite with Jonathan Gannon, who knows him well. I know that he hasn't had, a decade-long run of being productive, but he was unbelievably productive last year. He was unbelievably productive in the Super Bowl. He was a top-of-the-market guy, and to get him for that number when everybody else is getting paid, $100+ million, you're getting him at 71 plus 41 guaranteed. I thought it was a great job by the Cardinals to get Josh Sweat done for that. I would have been like no on Sweat for the Bears, but at that number, I would have said yes.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit for him too. I agree that that's one of the better signings. So shout out to our guys at PHNX. Should be excited about that one.
Bo got that done. Johnny got that done.
Well,
Shane got that done.
And the familiarity too with Jonathan Gannon is a good thing too. That they've been together before, so you trust that one a little bit more. All right, I'm gonna play Homer Hoge here.
Homer Hoge is out.
I just wanted to know. I spent a lot of time looking through the long list of underwhelming free agent signings that are going on around the league right now. I think the best one is Drew Dolman signing with the Chicago Bears. I think that's the best free agent signing that happened on day one of free agency across the entire league. I think in terms of fit, it's perfect. It fills a massive need that the Bears have had for a long time. And on top of that, came out to $14 million per year. I mean, this thing was rumored that it could get up 18, 19 million based on the lack of supply at the position. And it's only a 3-year deal. It's only a 2-year deal. So it's you could check every box of whether it's the contract, the fit, the need, the player. He's still ascending. He's only 26. I think it hits all the boxes. It's a perfect fit for Ben Johnson's offense. So when I was kind of looking at those same boxes across all the free agent signings I was going through that happened yesterday, I got Drew Dolman number 1 overall in the entire league.
Hey, Bears fans ain't going to argue, man. And The Athletic does it by tiers. He's in the second tier, and it's just kind of fun to look at the money for me. I mean, Will Freeze is 14, Dahlman is 15, 5-88, 3-42. That makes that puts a smile on my face. I love value.
No.
It doesn't. I get you maybe overpaid a drop, but the money came in a lot more comfortable with Drew than I thought it would too. So that worked out.
All right, worst signing. Who you got?
So this just feels like something the Bears would do in Bears years gone by. We need a left tackle. Let me go get the guy who, since he came in the league in 2021 as a 4th rounder, allowed the most sacks and the most pressures, and let me pay him premium money. And that's what the Tennessee Titans have done with Dan Moore Jr., which is just straight wild. Now, of course, Tennessee allowed 52 robust sacks last year, but Dan Moore got 4 years and 82 million buckaroos. Most sacks allowed since 21. That's something the Bears would normally do. Let me go get this guy. I'm the smartest guy in the room. He wasn't used properly. We're going to mess. We got somebody who can really, impact his footwork. He's going to be paired with our guy at left guard. We're going to stick him next to Joe Tooney. He's going to be nails. That's what we would do. That's what the Titans did. I don't know, man. That's frightening to me. So Tennessee, come on down. Dan Moore.
I think that's a good one. I think the left tackle market played out how we were worried the center market would play out, where there were just not that many good options and some teams overpaid. And that's a perfect example, which is the opposite of what the Bears managed to do with the center situation. All right, for me, I want to be clear. I like Milton Williams, but the Patriots definitely overpaid here. 4 years, $104 million for a guy who really hasn't even been a full-time starter. and was playing on one of the best, probably the best defensive front, definitely the best defensive front in football for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's kind of like when we talk about Sam Darnold, who's also going to come up here. It's like, is he really going to be able to replicate what he did in Philly at a much higher price point in New England with less talent around him, and he's got to play more snaps because there's going to be more responsibility? I find that hard to believe that he's going to be able to live up to this contract. Now, the only justification for it, if you're New England, they had a ton of cap space. At the end of the day, if it comes down to, do we pay this guy an extra $3 million per year to make sure we get him? They're in a spot where they could have done it. They did do it. But, man, when you're talking about a $30 million per year cap hit over the last 3 years of this deal, I mean, we're talking that's like top tier edge rusher money. That just seems kind of wild to me. So that to me was the worst free agent signing.
Yeah, I'm not pushing back on any of that whatsoever. Do we want to do teams?
Yeah, so this is my favorite category. We're going to discuss the what the hell are they doing team. And there's some good candidates.
Why don't you go first? Because I'm going back and forth in my head.
Yeah. You want to think about Houston at all, maybe?
They were in there.
Okay.
They were in there. But
well, I'll give you some time here to shore that up. I'm going to go. I think you have a good one, though, with the team in Pennsylvania.
I do, and I think, but I might pivot to the team in Ohio.
There's a few good options. I'm going to go to Seattle, though. I understood trading away DK Metcalf because I think that they were going to be forced to be in a situation where he's getting, and I think he is already getting, because the Steelers paid him more money than he's really worth. I think he's a really good wide receiver, but to me, he's not Jamar Chase. He's not Justin Jefferson level. So I understood why they had to make a tough decision there. And they got Jackson Smith and Jigba coming up, and it's the wide receiver spot. So you can find another guy out there, probably draft a guy, whatever, and make it work from a receiver room standpoint. Quarterback is a different animal. If you were to tell me that they were going to trade Geno Smith, I would have said, okay, well, maybe this is a year where they're going to go, it's like loaded in the draft like last year was with quarterbacks, and they're going to be able to get a much younger option, and they're just hitting the reset button there. They're getting something back for them. What they essentially did here was they got $10 million cheaper at the position, and they got a third-round pick back to get Sam Darnold. Is Sam Darnold better than Geno Smith?
I don't think he is.
And here's the thing. Even if Sam Darnold is able to replicate what he did in Minnesota, where he had Kevin O'Connell, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison, and a better offensive line. Not a great offensive line, but a better offensive line than he's going to have in Seattle right now, unless they make some major additions very, very soon. All of that seems unlikely. But even if he were to replicate what he did in Minnesota, he still choked when it came to the playoffs. His two worst games were Week 18 against the Lions and then in the playoffs against the Rams.
I hate the word choke, but in this case, it kind of applies.
It definitely applies.
Yeah.
So if you're getting rid of Geno Smith, who are you replacing him with? And to give Sam Darnold over $100 million over the course of 3 years. Yes, it's technically cheaper than Geno Smith. I don't know, man. What the hell are they doing?
Yeah, and, Pete Carroll ain't walking through that door either to save the whole situation, too. So I get it. I get it. It's a big bet, and also it's a punt on a dude who really saved your ass for a while, too. So I don't like that part of it either. Can we listen? I was going to talk about the Steelers because
we can go through a few teams here if you want.
Yeah, and you can tackle Houston, but Pittsburgh. What are you doing at quarterback exactly? You're even last year at 4-2. You're benching Justin for Russ, which has ended badly all the time. I almost wondered at the time, are you doing this because you don't want to give the Bears the 4th round pick? Is that why you're making this decision? I didn't quite get it. Now you let him go to the Jets for no money because you don't want to make him a starter. You want to draft a quarterback down the line. I'm not following the logic here. But aside of that, let me move over to the Bengals, because you've decided that you're marrying Jamar Chase, okay, which makes sense to me, but those contract negotiations are dragging out forever. You're dating T. Higgins, who you franchise tag for the second year, make a decision. Hello, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And now you're punting, you're benching, you're breaking up with Trey Hendrickson, who had 17 and a half sacks on a defensive line that stunk. Now, what else have you done, like, to try to figure out what the money here? Because you paid Mike Gesicki $12 million a year for a couple of years. You paid B.J. Hill 3 years and $33 million on the D-line. Dude, you have one of the best players in the NFL sitting there. Don't pay somebody else before you make a decision on that. You don't know how this is going to wrap up. You have a premium player who wants to stay, who is married to you, and you're deciding to divorce him. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So, to Cincinnati, who always seems to do things that are completely insane, and Joe Burrow rescued him for 5 seconds and got him to the Super Bowl. The Bengals are way out over their skis doing things that don't make sense.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
What about the Patriots? Obviously they hire a defensive-minded head coach in Mike Vrabel, a guy that played for the Patriots as well, but they've done almost nothing on offense. They signed Morgan Moses at offensive tackle, and then their main wide receiver addition so far is Mac Hollins. That's meaning that they have to use, as of right now, the entire draft to fix the offense. You got your franchise quarterback in Drake May, and they've done almost nothing to support him.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have a hell of a draft.
I mean, can you guys name the wide receivers on the Patriots right now? It's not pretty.
No, I can't. Other than Mac Hollins.
Mac Hollins, my guy. 15 in 5 years.
DeMario Douglas.
Oh, and they have Polk.
Yeah, Jalen Polk.
Who had some drop issues last year, but I actually like him.
Kayshon Boutte. I mean, yeah, this isn't good. Drake May needs support.
Yeah. I'll go down to Pittsburgh and address them, because Mike Tomlin has found himself in what we like to call quarterback hell, I think. This is ever since Roethlisberger retired. The Kenny Pickett thing didn't work out. They scrambled last year. I didn't hate their strategy of having Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in there together. But when push came to shove, I think they just fell too much in love with Russell and what he did for a decent part of the season. Don't get me wrong. But he fell apart late, and obviously enough that they didn't want to bring him back. But I didn't feel like they ever really gave Justin Fields a good enough chance. Now Justin Fields gets paid in New York, which the more I thought about, I'll address that in a minute. I actually think that's a better fit than I originally gave credit to off the top of my head yesterday. But let's just think about it this way. At this point, any team, just you're starting a team from scratch, whatever. Would you rather have Justin Fields or Aaron Rodgers?
I'd rather have Justin Fields.
Steven?
Right now?
Yeah. You're starting a team from scratch.
That's a no-brainer. Wow, you really don't like Fields.
I might take Rodgers there. If we're talking 1 year.
Okay.
1 year right now. If it's multiple years, then sure, Fields.
I'm not saying there's not a case for it, but obviously the Jets made their decision. They released Rodgers, and then they signed Justin Fields. And so if Pittsburgh ends up grabbing Aaron Rodgers, I mean, look, of the other options available right now, it might be the best, but do we think the Steelers will win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers this coming year?
To me, the only place that Aaron Rodgers can go and be 68% of what he once was, if that, is to go to Minnesota. He goes to Pittsburgh, they don't have enough to make him look good, I don't think.
Well, they do have DK Metcalf and George Pickens now.
I forget about the DK Metcalf for a second there. That was a little bit of a calm brain fart. That helps. That'll help.
And they have a good defense still. But
I still think he's better off in Minnesota. But okay,
they do have a terrible offensive line too. I think they were 28th or 29th in the NFL last season.
Yeah, and let's not pretend that Rodgers had some weapons in New York too. Garrett Wilson's pretty damn good.
Sure is.
I mean, there's some players there, and it just didn't work. So I don't know. The Steelers are confusing to me. I can't figure out what they're doing. So they're also, what the hell are they doing? team. And then I want to throw the Houston Texans in there too, because I'm just confused. Look, I know they came in, they broke onto the scene a little bit faster than they even thought, and a lot of it had to do with C.J. Stroud's rookie season. But they seem to almost be like resetting now. Because it's not even, okay, it's one thing to cut bait with Laramie Tunsil and try to get something back in return. But if you look at the picks they actually got, it's a third rounder this year, but the second and fourth rounder they got aren't even until next year.
Right.
So this isn't like we're immediately loading up on picks to try to, keep this thing moving in a positive direction. They seemingly have very quickly gotten worse, and I just find it confusing because they seem to be a team that's pretty close, especially in a not so great division.
Well, who's protecting CJ? That's the
thing. It's just, you have this asset in CJ Stroud, and you did the opposite of what the Bears just did, and you're making your line worse.
It's hard to, and everyone talk copycat league. Dude, CJ's going his third year. Did you look at the Eagles? They just won the Super Bowl. You're going the opposite way. The Texans have been absolutely confusing.
I'm going to preface this with saying I think it was a terrible move for the Texans, but Laramie Tunsil had 19 penalties last season. Maybe that was just something that wore thin with the Texans brass.
And that's way too many. A big part of that, I know he was jumping, he's false starting a lot. So I don't know if that had to do, I didn't watch a ton of Texans football last year, but, that may have had to do with these tackles that are trying to get these jumps at the line of scrimmage, and then some get called for it more than others. I don't know.
We all silly like the mayor.